In this video, we'll be working on problem 1 of the May 2019 Math CXC exam. In part A, we want to evaluate some expressions using a calculator or otherwise. In the first part, we have the complex fraction 2 1/4 minus 1 3/5 all divided by 3. Our first step is to combine the fractions in the numerator. But in order to combine them, I need to rewrite the mixed fractions as improper fractions. So the 2 1/4 can be written as 9/4. The 1 3/5 can be written as 8/5. So I have 9/4 minus 8/5, all of this divided by 3. Now, to combine the fractions in the numerator, I need to get a common denominator. The common denominator between 4 and 5 would be 20. So for my first fraction, in order to get the denominator 20, I need to multiply the top and the bottom by 5. For the second fraction, if I want to get the denominator 20, I need to multiply the top and the bottom by 4. Doing these operations, I get 45 over 20, and then minus 32 over 20. All of this is still divided by 3. Now that I have the same denominators, I can combine the fractions by doing 45 minus 32 divided by 20, all of this divided by 3. So on top, I'll have 13 over 20, and then divide the whole fraction by 3. I can rewrite that division by 3 by multiplying by the reciprocal of that denominator. So I have 13 over 20 times the reciprocal of 3, which is 1/3. This gives me the final answer of 13 over 60. If you want to get a decimal answer, you can enter that into your calculator, and you should get something like 0.216 repeating. In part 2, we have 2.14 times sine of 75 degrees, and we're asked to give our answer correct to 2 decimal places. The first thing that we're going to do is to calculate sine of 75 degrees, and we can do that by entering that into our calculator. It's important to make sure that your angles are set to degrees in your calculator. So when you type in sine of 75 degrees, you get 0.9659 and so on. Next, we want to do 2.14 times sine 75 degrees, so I have 2.14 times 0.9659. Multiplying that out in your calculator, you get 2.06708, and it keeps going. Since the question asks us to give our answer correct to 2 decimal places, I'm going to cut it off at 2 decimal places. But since our next decimal is 7, I'm going to round up, so our final answer is 2.07. In part B, we are told that Irma's take-home pay is $4,320 per fortnight. We are told that each fortnight, Irma's pay is allocated according to the following table. She allocates X dollars to rent, $629 to food, $2X to other living expenses, $1,750 to savings, and all of this adds up to a total of $4,320, which is her take-home pay. In part 1, we are asked to find Irma's annual take-home pay. What we need to do is to convert her take-home pay from dollars per fortnight to dollars per year. Her pay is $4,320 per 1 fortnight. Now, we are told that a fortnight is 2 weeks, so I can convert this to weeks by multiplying by 1 fortnight is equivalent to 2 weeks. Next, I want to convert from weeks to years. I know that there are 52 weeks in 1 year. So notice now that if we do this multiplication, certain units will cancel out. The fortnight in the denominator will cancel out with the fortnight in the numerator. The weeks in the denominator will cancel out with the weeks in the numerator. And what we'll be left with is years in the denominator, which is what we want. Computing this, we have 4,320 times 52 in the numerator and 2 year in the denominator. Combining the numbers together, we multiply 4,320 by 52, then divide by 2. We end up with $112,320 per year. So that's her annual pay. In part 2, we're asked to determine the amount of money Irma allocates for rent each month. So if we go back to our table, we see that for rent, she allocates X dollars. So what we need to do is solve for X. And what we know is that the sum of all of the money she allocates has to add up to 4,320. So if I add up X dollars for rent, $629 for food, 2X dollars for other living expenses, $1,750 for savings, this should total $4,320. This gives us an equation which we can use to solve for x. Combining the like terms on the left, we have 3x plus 2,379. This is equal to 4,320. Subtracting 2,379 from both sides, we get 3x equals 1,941. Then to get x all on its own, we divide by 3. So x is equal to 1,941 divided by 3, which is 647. This tells us that Irma allocates $647 for rent every fortnight. Now, the question asks for the rent each month. Since there are 2 fortnights each month, the amount of money that Irma allocates for rent each month is 2 times 647, which is $1,294. So that's our final answer. In part 3, it says that all of Irma's savings is used to pay her son's university tuition cost, which is $150,000. If Irma's pay remains the same and she saves the same amount each month, what is the minimum number of years that she must work in order to save enough money to cover her son's tuition? To answer this question, I'm going to set up an equation. I'm going to first introduce the variable t. This is going to be the number of fortnights that Irma saves. Then the amount of money that Irma will have saved after t fortnights will be 1,750 times t. Since Irma wants to save $150,000, we'll set this equal to 150,000. So now I have an equation that I can use to solve for t. Divide both sides of this equation by 1,750 to get t equals 85.71 and so forth. Okay, so this is the amount of fortnights that Irma needs to save in order to pay for her son's tuition. However, in this question we want to answer it in terms of the number of years she needs to save. So I need to convert from fortnights to years. So I have 85.71 fortnights. And if I want to convert this into years, we multiply by 1 year divided by 26 fortnights. When we multiply this out, we notice that the fortnight units will cancel out, leaving me with an answer in terms of years. So if I do 85.71 and divide by 26, we get 3.3 years. So Irma has to save a minimum of 4 years to pay for her son's tuition. The answer is not 3 because if she had only saved for 3 years, she would not have enough money for her son's tuition. So that's problem 1 of the May 2019 CXC Math exam.